Hello and welcome back to part 4 of our self-love challenge, day 16. We are talking about standing up for yourself, speaking up for yourself. So how do you speak up, stand up for yourself without harming yourself or your relationships, excuse me? Develop assertiveness. I think that's a big thing. Develop assertiveness. Non-assertive people, they're passive. I have been a very non-assertive person in the past. I've developed assertiveness. I think it's a learned behavior because it did not come naturally to me. I was always very, very shy, very quiet, very passive. But it's not really the case anymore because I've developed assertiveness. But yes, we can be very passive. I've been very passive. We withhold things verbally and are often overly deferential, and they very rarely have their needs met, these non-assertive people. So being assertive lets others know how you feel, what you need, and what you want, and it demonstrates personal dignity, self-confidence, and respect, self-respect. So one thing, I have a list here about ways that you can mindfully be assertive and stand up for yourself. Number 1, consider the other person. Consider where the other person is coming from. This makes the change between aggression and assertiveness by being mindful of the other person's thoughts and feelings, and maybe even ask them, what they're thinking, what they're feeling on the subject, whatever it might be, and take into account at the very least what you can imagine that they're going through. Put yourself in their shoes as well. So number 2, one thing to remember is if your backgrounds and life experience and lifestyle differ that much that you may never see eye to eye, you might just want to take into account that it might be enough. It might just be enough to consider the source and move forward. You don't need to justify or explain yourself. Just look at all the facts, consider the source, and move forward. Number 3, think of how you can non-attackingly clarify your perspective when you're speaking up for yourself. You want to do it in a way that isn't self-righteous and that isn't defensive. Using I statements helps, like saying, I feel this way, as opposed to putting them on the defensive and saying, you always, you do this, you do that. Monitor your emotions, keep them in check, and plan your conversation. And something to keep in mind is that if you're met with derision, manipulation, scare tactics, sulking, terror tactics, or abuse, you might want to consider that you are in an emotionally abusive situation or relationship, and look into your resources and get some help with that. So number 4, assure yourself that without your consent, no one has the authority to invalidate you. No one. No. Your silence, by not speaking up for yourself, you can put yourself in unhealthy, unfulfilling, sometimes dangerous, and very often unhappy situations. So you want to own your worth. Speak your truth. Live in your self-respect. Because, if you never say anything, nothing will ever change. You got to speak up for yourself. And remember, you are a strong, beautiful, independent person. Strong, beautiful, independent person. Speaking up for yourself is important in leading the life you desire. We're talking about loving ourselves and choosing our path here, guys. So it's pretty critical to remember those things. And also, if you avoid conflict, remember, you're starting a war within yourself every time. So speak up, because the day you don't is the day your freedom starts to die. Be a voice, not an echo. Be a voice, not an echo. Be your voice. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us with Twisted Tribe Yoga today. Join us again later in the week for day 17 of our self-love challenge. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful evening.